In this video, I'll build a complete objection response library, 15 of the most common buyer and seller objections with word-for-word responses written in my own communication style in 20 minutes. Once it's built, it's yours forever. You never start from scratch on an objection again. Here's exactly how. Before we start, quick disclaimer. This is a productivity demo, not professional advice. The data on screen is fictional. Real estate rules vary by country and state. Check your broker and local regulations before using any of this with real clients. Some tool links are affiliate. Full disclosure in the description. Now, the workflow. This came from a comment thread a few weeks back where someone asked how I handle the wait for the market to cool objection from buyers, specifically buyers who've been sitting on the fence for 6 months and keep finding new reasons to wait. And it got me thinking about how most of us handle objections in general. If you're honest about it, your current objection handling system is probably one of 3 things. You remember what worked last time and try to repeat it. You wing it in the moment and hope the energy is right. Or you've got a few go-to lines that you've been using for years and you're not sure they're still landing. None of those is a system. The problem with building a proper objection library manually is that it takes forever. You've got to think through every scenario, draft a response, make it sound like you, not like a sales script from 2008, and then organize it somewhere findable. That's a 4-hour project that never makes it to the top of the list. Opening ChatGPT, chatgpt.com. This is the tool I'm using for this workflow specifically because the style seeding technique we're about to do works really well here. New conversation. Before I show you the workflow that works, I'm going to show you what ChatGPT defaults to if you skip the most important step. I'll just ask it cold for an objection response. See that output? It's technically correct, but it doesn't sound like any real conversation I've ever had with a buyer. It's too formal. It's got that, "I understand your concerns" opener that every sales script ever written uses, and it immediately pivots to urgency tactics. I was skeptical that the tone matching step would actually make a significant difference, but it does. Let me show you the right workflow. New conversation. Step 1 is the style seeding prompt. I'm going to paste in 3 sample excerpts from how I typically communicate with clients. From emails, nothing sensitive. Watch what a difference this makes to everything that follows. ChatGPT confirmed it studied the style. Now watch. Everything we generate from this point forward will match the tone of those examples. Conversational but professional, honest, no pressure tactics, direct. Let's run the buyer objections first. Buyer objections. 5 of the most common ones. I'm going to prompt for all 5 at once. That's the efficiency play here. You don't do these one at a time. Let me walk through 2 of these. The market is too hot. I'll wait response. It opens with a direct acknowledgement, no platitudes, then gives a specific data point about what waiting actually costs in the current inventory environment. No urgency pressure, just information. That's the tone I wanted. Compare that to the cold-generated version we saw earlier. Complete different energy. Now the interest rates one. This one I'm going to read carefully before I use it. The response talks about rate context, but doesn't give specific numbers or predictions, which is correct. I don't want to make rate forecasts in client conversations. It frames it as, here's the question worth asking your lender. Good. That's the right positioning. Now the seller objections. Same one-shot approach. The commission objection. I want to call this one out. The response doesn't argue, doesn't list a bunch of services. It acknowledges the question directly and pivots to value in a specific way. It mentions marketing reach and negotiation outcomes without making specific ROI claims, which is the right way to handle that. The FSBO one is solid too. It respects the seller's autonomy, which is important. No guilt tripping about why FSBO is a bad idea. It just says, totally fair, it works for some sellers. Here's what I find the gap usually is, and here's how to tell if it's the right call for your situation. That's a collaborative posture, not a defensive one. Sellers respond better to that. Now the most important step, saving this in a way you can actually find it when you need it. I'm copying the full output and pasting it into Notion. Here's the labeling structure I use. Each entry gets a tag, buyer or seller, and a one-word keyword that matches the objection. So commission, FSBO, rates, timing, and so on. When I need the commission response before a listing appointment, I just search commission in Notion and it's right there. Takes 2 seconds to find. Takes 0 mental effort in the moment when you need it. You can keep going in the same conversation. In the same ChatGPT session, the style context is still active. You can add 5 more on any angle you want. Add the inspection objection from buyers. Add the appraisal gap objection. Add the "I saw a similar house listed lower last week" seller objection. Same prompt pattern, same style, same library. In 20 minutes, you can have 25 to 30 responses ready. After that first session, the library just grows organically. Whenever you hit an objection in real life that you handled well, open the Notion page and add your own version alongside the AI-generated one. Here's what we built in 20 minutes. A complete objection response library with 15 responses, 5 buyer, 5 seller, 5 of your choosing, all written in your communication style, organized and searchable in Notion, ready to use or adapt in any client conversation. The manual version of this, 4 or more hours of drafting, editing, trying to make it sound like you and not a sales script, and then usually it lives in a Word doc that you never open again. The difference between this and the manual version isn't just time. It's that this one actually gets done, actually gets used, and actually sounds like you because of the style seeding step. That's the part one was most skeptical about the first time I ran it, and it genuinely works. One note on using these. They're starting points, not scripts to read verbatim. The best way to use them is to read through your library before a listing appointment or buyer consultation. Internalize the approach for the 2 or 3 objections you're most likely to hit, and then let it come out naturally in conversation. You're not reading from a card. You've already rehearsed the logic. The responses give you the structure. The conversation gives it life. The style seeding prompt and the full objection prompt structure are both in the description. Copy them directly. If you want the prompt pack for real estate agents with the full library template already formatted and 30 additional prompts across every workflow, the link is in the description. And drop your toughest objection in the comments, the one you get most often that you still don't love your answer to. We'll cover the hardest ones in a future video.